Shalom, shalom. This week's parsha is Parshat Emor, and I'd like to take a look today at the blasphemer who appears in this week's parsha. And I want to give an interpretation, a homiletical one, that I have not seen in the commentaries, but I think we can expound upon the words to at least see where I came up with this concept. And definitely, at least there's something to learn, whether you like it based on this parsha or not. So that is, let's go through this story. It's a short but not so sweet story of a man that goes out amongst the Israel nation, and he, we're told, is the son of an Israelite woman and an Egyptian man. And he has a fight with someone from Israel, an Israelite, full Israelite man. And he ends up the one who is born from the Jewish mother and the Egyptian father ends up blaspheming God, using the name of God. And then we're told that they didn't know what to do with him. They brought him to Moshe to see what should be done with it. And then we're told that this man is the son of, and we're given her name, Shlomit bat Divri of the tribe of Dan. So here is where I'd like to go into. I think that the narrative by telling us this name, whether the name is really the mother's name or not, I think it's trying to give us an understanding of her character because names are always representative of the character of the person, in the Bible at least. And the name Shlomit Shalom is peace, and she is the daughter of, we're told, Divri. Now, Divri can be broken down to Dvar Hashem, that everything is from God. Now, I think that this woman was a pious woman, and she felt whole and complete and peaceful based on that she is a daughter of this philosophy that everything comes from God, which we see a lot of people have that philosophy, and it brings them inner peace, and they're able to cope with anything that comes their way in life. They have this sense of they can deal with it and they're peaceful because they believe that everything's from God. Now, I think the fact that that was her way did not work out so well for her child. Why? Well, because her child was from an Egyptian man, which came from a totally different kind of philosophy. And we always have to keep in mind that children are a composition of many genetic factors, of a lot of nature and nurture, and so many things go into each person. And that when we're parenting a child, we have to be really careful, even when we think we're giving them the best philosophy that has given us inner peace, it might not work for the child. And maybe, just maybe, the fact that she was always saying, oh, everything is from God, don't worry, my child, everything is from God, that when and we're told that he went out because he wasn't accepted, it says, by the tribe of Dan. He wanted a portion, and they said, well, you're the son of an Egyptian, and they didn't want to give him a portion. And this was really hurtful to him, especially we're told the tribe of Dan were the ones who were responsible. They stayed out when there's travels in the desert. They were the ones who stayed behind, and they looked after, made sure to get everything, even the possessions and the stragglers, and that all the rejects, so to speak, would were all welcomed by Don. Don took care of everybody. And, you know, here he's being rejected by the tribe of Dan. If he's not going to be accepted by the tribe of Dan to get a portion, he's not going to be accepted anywhere. And now he's been told his whole life, he's been raised with this philosophy that everything's from God. So what does he do? He gets mad. He's like, well, this is what's how God's treating me. And he ended up blaspheming God because of this. Now, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes if we have, a philosophy and it works for us, we have to be extremely careful Because a philosophy like that, while that's could be true on a high level or in a sort of way, that if it's not coming from one's own being, one's own feeling, and one's own ability to cope like that, it can't be forced onto another person. And if you try and tell them that, then anytime something goes wrong and they don't really know how to handle that, they're going to get mad at God and they're going to end up cursing God, and this is going to have a really bad reverberating effect for the people. Now, I don't think that this was something that the mother, you know, well, she did her best, right? And I think there's so many people here that end up being culpable because they don't know what to do with this man. They go and they bring him to Moshe and say, "What should we do with it?" And Moshe speaks to God, and God tells him that he has to take him out and he has to be um, stoned to death. But before he is, we're told that everybody that heard him say this they have to um, lay their hands on his head before they stone him. And this concept it's similar to like when we bring a korban on a sacrifice. What it says is that the people who have to do this are partially culpable for having to have this person's death. Nobody's brought up in a bubble. All things affected this person, and the people that were around and that heard and were part and parcel of, unfortunately, the way things happen, and that them um, seeing and hearing and understanding and not being able to, or not taking the responsibility, or not trying to change things for the better, they are partially responsible. And we're all responsible. We can't just, watch things happen when people say anything, even a philosophy that seems good, or when somebody seems to be getting angry. We have to do our best all to ease the situation, to do the best for the situation, to bring justice to the situation, to come to deal with it before the person comes to the point where they're so angry and so frustrated and that they lash out and they do something that's going to cause his own death, of virtual suicide. um, because he knew that the Shem Hashem, the name of God, would cause his own death. And so I think that we learn a lot of things from here. I think we learn that we have to be careful when we talk to other people about how they're receiving information, or what we should share. And we're all responsible. We all have to help. That if somebody is seen as an outsider, if they're treated in a way that's going to cause hatred and aggravation because they weren't treated with the proper sensitivity, that they're responsible for the outcome of that. They can just say, well, this one blasphemed God, and he's evil and he has to be killed. No, you're partially responsible for that. Did you try and help? Did you try and make this person better? Did you try to receive him? Did you try to talk to him? Did you try to bring him in and do something about it? So it also teaches us responsibility for the mental health of other people when they're going through things, to try and help out when uh, we have that contact, or the possibility of doing so. And with all that, I wish you all very good Shabbat Shalom.